Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'll be talking about what happened and why I have to go to the hospital and basically future plans for my health also. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so some of you guys may know, like a lot of you may know that last week I went to the hospital for an unknown reason. At the time, I didn't know what was going on and like what happened, why I was feeling the way I was feeling. So 3 days prior, before I went to the hospital, I was having chest pain. Like, I don't know, like it was bad chest pain to where I was having chest pain, like really bad chest pain. Like the first day, it wasn't bad to where I couldn't pick up anything or like stuff like that. Like I could still pick up stuff, but it was like just heavy pressure. Then the next day it got, a little but I was still, working. I'm thinking like, yuck, if you just take some ibuprofen, like I think it's just, the normal for you. So, did that, went the whole day. And I had my niece with me. The third day, it was the last night. I went to the hospital on the 15th of April because of pneumonia. I got so many DMs and things like that. Like I couldn't even reply. Even when I was trying to reply, like I was kind of drugged up. Like, yeah. Or I just didn't want to reply to all of those DMs. Like, are you okay? What's going on? Tell me what's happening. So here I am. So let me tell you the story. So 3 days prior, before going to the hospital, I was having chest pain, and it went on for those 3 days. But for the third day, I was with my niece, and she slept in my bed that night. And then I tried to pick her up. It wasn't going. I said, I called my mom. Well, I didn't call her. I texted her, and I said, my head is killing me, and I still can't breathe, and I'm having chest pain. Like, I'm having pressure in my chest. And she told me to call the doctor. So I called the doctor, and the first thing they told me was, they asked me, like, are you having symptoms of COVID-19? Like, they asked you the questions like, have you been out of the country in the last 14 days, blah, 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 things like that. I said no, except to when I was having, are you having shortness of breath? Yes. Are you having chest pain? Yes. And I told them I was having a major headache, which I was. So they told me, okay, you're gonna have to come in, but once you come in, stay at the front desk where one of the nurses is that I know. She's like, where Blank is. And I was like, okay. And she's gonna go over with you, and she's gonna give you a mask unless you don't have a mask. And I said, okay. So my older brother, came with me, who freaking made me drive. As I'm in pain, made me drive. So I went slower to the hospital than what he would have did, And for me, things like this is like it's kind of typical because of what I have. So if you guys didn't know by now, like I have sickle cell disease, sickle cell anemia, and that's where my cells aren't normal from your cells, or half of you guys' cells. Okay, well, my cells are not normal. That's all I had to say. So I have regular blood cells, but half of my other blood cells are sickled cells. Hence the name sickle cell. Hence the name sickle cell. So yeah, so we thought it was just that, like, oh, she's having a crisis, like, go to the hospital, blah blah. No, that was wasn't the deal, baby. So when I got to the hospital, they stuck me 4 times before they can get an IV. Now me, I'm small, you can't see my veins, so it's kind of hard. Like when you're really like trying to find my veins, yeah, it's hard. Me, I don't care about needles. Like, it's okay. Like, I can deal with it, you know. It's if you move them around, like in my skin, please, you're hurting me at this point. Like, yeah, no, can't deal with that. So after they got the IV, she got this oxygen thing, like tube. She got an oxygen tube and she put it in my nose and all that good stuff. And she told me, and she got, you know, the thing around my finger. She told me my oxygen level was low. It was at 78. It was at 78. Your oxygen level is supposed to be above 95. 95 or above, okay? My oxygen levels normally are below 90, but you know, but it can go up to 90, like 98. 78 was my oxygen level. Like, come on now. And then she told hemoglobin. I'm gonna just act like I said it right. That thing, yeah. She told me it was at a 5.5. I was like, oh, Bianca, you were dying. So then they took an x-ray. Like, they brought in a machine and took an x-ray of my chest to see how like what was going on, because I was still having pressure. Then they went out and they looked at it and he was just like, yeah. And the other man was like, yeah. That was the doctor and the man who took my x-ray. They were like, there's something there. He was like, yeah, I see that. He was like, yeah, I see this. Like, what do you think that is? And he was like, that's all I heard. Next thing you know, the lady gave me morphine. My headache stopped, but I was still in pain. The nurse left the water running, which got me aggravated. And I called her back into the room and said, you left the water on. I think it's because I felt like she was wasting water, you know? Okay, so after that, she told me I was getting admitted, which when your oxygen level is low and your hemoglobin is low, you need to be admitted. So I was admitted into the hospital. They gave me, once I was admitted, they gave me 2 pints of blood. Then, yeah, they told me that I had pneumonia in my right lung. And I looked and I was just like, whoa. So I had pneumonia, I had a low oxygen level, and I had low blood. I was like, dang, come on, that I didn't really like notice all of this. So then for a couple of days I'm in the hospital, you know, everything's going smooth and like we're fine. Like, they're treating me with what they needed to be treating me with. And they told me, like, the day before, well, let me say this. They told me that, and then one day, like, I spent like 5 days in the hospital. So on the 5th day that I was in the hospital, they were like, oh my gosh, tomorrow you might be able to go home. So I was like, really? Like, you know? That night, when, well, it was like 3 in the morning, and all of a sudden Bianca's body, well, the left side of my body, I could not move, I could not feel, I don't know what happened. And I called the nurse so fast, you know, I was pressing that button, I pressed it like 5 times too. And the nurse, she told me, she said, what happened? Like, she didn't even do it through the like intercom that's in the room. She did it, she just ran into the room. And she was just like, what happened? I said, I can't feel. the left side of my body. Like, I can't feel it. I was freaking out. I didn't know what was going on. This never happened. So I'm like, what's going on? Like, I can't feel the left side of my body. Like, the left side of my body. And I kept repeating it. Like, I was like, the left side of my body is numb. Like, I can't feel. Yo, I was about to cry. I didn't know what to do. She was on the computer, she was typing, and she started typing. She couldn't feel the left side of her body, blah blah. So she called the doctor right away, and they ordered a MRI and a CAT scan to see what was going on. Well, the MRI, basically, she was like, you got braces, and I was just like, yeah. She told me it might affect the MRI. Like, we don't know how the pictures would come out. She was right. We came back and the MRI scans were invalid because of my braces. Like, we couldn't see what was going on because of my braces, because it's metal. So the doctor was like, yeah, you're gonna have to get those removed. And I was just like, huh? She was like, yeah, you're gonna have to get those removed because we need to see a better picture of you. We can't see it if you have your braces. And I was just like, okay, I understand. It's my health before my teeth. So we have to call your orthodontist and tell them, and basically I need to call and say it's doctor's orders. And I was like, okay. So I gave her the number. She was like, yeah, we're gonna have to call to get them removed and things like that. And I was just like, okay. So after the MRI and the CAT scan and her telling me about my braces that they have to come off, she told me that they need to do a red blood exchange, which a red blood exchange is like something that basically, I don't know how to describe it, but it takes out the bad red blood cells, aka sickle cell, and then aka my sickle cell, and they put in new blood. And they put in new blood. So as the old blood, well, the bad blood is going out, the new blood is going in. So it's like a machine that basically is doing that. So I was just like, yeah. And she was like, yeah, we got to do that ASAP because you just had a little stroke. And I was like, a stroke? She's like, yeah, that numbness that you were feeling on the left side of your body was a little stroke. I was like, and she was like, well, we can't tell what happened because we can't see the MRI. So that was our guess, and you had all the symptoms. So they gave me a red blood exchange. So after they gave me the after they gave me the talk, another doctor came in that does the red blood exchange. He was like, you have to do it ASAP, and you just ate, and you have to do this on an empty stomach if you want to be sedated. And I literally just ate, and he was just like, so we want to do it as soon as possible. So you either have one option to where you can do it awake, and we can numb you and like put all these things in you, and like, so where you're awake and you're numb, so you won't feel anything. You might feel like a little pinch, but that's it. I looked at him and I said, and I was like, already he was explaining it, and I was just like, no. So he gave me the second option, which was, you gotta wait 6 hours until I think it was 8 hours, not 6. 6 or 8 hours. One of them. Until your food is gone and that you don't have anything in your system with the food that you just ate. And I was like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's fine. We can do that second option. And he was just like, well, we really have to do it. And I was just like, no, we can do that second option. That's fine with me, you know, because me, I was scared. You're talking about cutting me open and while I'm awake? Oh no, ma'am. Oh no, ma'am. It's not happening. Oh no, ma'am. In my head, I was like, this doctor crazy. If he thinks I'm really about to like do this while I'm awake. Oh no, I'm not. After the 6 or 8 hours passed, they took me to the ICU, the floor below, and they basically was telling me what was gonna happen, blah blah blah. You know, 30 minutes after, that's when everybody came in. You know, my mom was there before, but she had to go out of the room because she couldn't be in there. So they're telling me they're gonna put a catheter in my groin area. So it's not exactly your thigh, but like it's not exactly your thigh, but like where, dang, it's where, almost where your hip is, like where my hip is. And I said, okay. She was like, didn't you have this before? And I was just like, yeah, when I was like 7, I was in a coma. Like, I didn't know about this. Like, my mom told me about this. I remember them removing it. Like, that was some pain. So, imagine. She was like, it's just like that. I was like, oh, ma'am, like I said again, I was in a coma. I remember everything, okay? My mom told me, okay? So, she was just like, okay, well, we'll guide you through it, blah, 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 things like that. The reason they had to do it in my, where my groin area is because there's a vessel, a big vein. There's a big, huge vein where your groin area is. And the catheter is that size. That catheter is the size. And you can't have a small vein like in your arms or anywhere that basically, because it's not gonna work. It's gonna definitely blow, and blood will be splattering everywhere if you have that little vein going through all that. So they did it. That's why they had to do it there. Okay, so after all that, they started, you know, putting me under, and they started talking to me, counting. They're like, Bianca, are you okay? And I'm just like, yeah. Oh my gosh, I had the best nurse ever. The Three Musketeers. I had the best nurse ever. Best one. And you know, she was helping me, she was guiding me. She was like, you okay? Are you fine? Are you sure? And then I started getting sick. I woke up after in pain, in freaking pain. And they were finished putting the catheter in. Now it was time for the red blood exchange process. And oh yeah, I woke up and I couldn't see anything. All you saw was blurred vision. So then they're counting the bloods, which was 5 pints of new blood going into my body. They're counting each one. They're saying what they have to say. Basically their routine for doing this, I guess. And the whole time that they're saying it, they're like, for Bianca Sofra, and I'm like, here. That's all I remember saying and going right back to sleep. And then like a couple hours, it was like morning, like 10 o'clock. This happened all at like 3-4 a.m. and it was like 10-11 o'clock when I woke up, and yo, I can't feel my leg, and I'm just like, yo, and you can feel the catheter in you. So I went back to sleep because I don't know if I don't know. I just felt like if I went back to sleep, it'll probably be out. So I went back to sleep. Still there by the time, you know, I did that. And I woke up. Next thing you know, they're like, okay, well, we're sending you back up in an hour, so we have to take that out. I was like, while I'm awake, you couldn't do it while I was asleep. She's like, I'm sorry, sweetie, but yeah. So they took it out. Oh my gosh, when I tell you, it was the worst pain ever. And I had to press down on it for 10 minutes because it's a big vessel. You can't just have, you know, and then just bandage it up. You have to apply that pressure, baby. They applied the pressure and it was too much. It was a lot. Like, it hurt so bad. And then they put me in these like tapes, like these like what they would do for cats, but like more stickier. I don't know what they're called. I don't know what type of bandages like they're called. So then after that, you know, they did more numbing tests on me, like press down on your hands and I had more strength, and then, you know, press down on my feet, I had more strength. So I was getting there, I was getting healthy. Then the next day they told me that I will be able to go home. So basically I spent 7 days, 8 days. I spent 7 days in the hospital. I spent a week in the hospital because of all of this. And now, because of all of this going on, but I'm going to need a port in my chest. That's what they told me. That it's going to be in my chest for the rest of my life, and that will be my new best friend. And every month I'm going to have the red blood exchange because of this. Guys, there's people out here who have sickle cell, and you guys might be like, yo, what's sickle cell? Like, be open to learn about things, because like when you meet someone and they probably have the same condition I do, and you really love that person and you don't know how to help them, let me tell you, search up what sickle cell is, please, and always be mindful of what you're saying. People, don't be like, oh well, she got this, I'm gonna get it too. Sickle cell is not contagious. It's not contagious. I won't. If I touch you, you won't get it. Please. Don't be stupid about things. Just really research what sickle cell is. Research anything. Like, it doesn't matter what you have. Diabetes, cancer. Find different ways to help that person. Thank you guys for watching my video. Make sure you like, comment any questions that you guys may have, and subscribe. So I am at 107 subscribers, and I want to thank you guys. Let's keep going. Let's at least get to like 500 right now. That's my next goal. 500 subscribers.